They say prep is play. I don't always agree with that. I think when it comes to solo playing, prep can kind of get in the way. I think a lot of people will prep until the cows come home and never actually get around to playing a story. But that being said, um, I'm finding myself without much to go on what to do with my Runecairn playthrough. I thought it'd be to my advantage that Torsten, our main character, would awaken in the world of Runecairn with no memory of who he used to be or no recollection of how he got to where he is. But I didn't read ahead on the dungeon, and the fact that at the very end this giant raven rather, picked up Torsten and just like flew off with him somewhere has kind of left me at a loss of like where to go to from here. One thing I do want to sort of retcon from last session is that Draugr that Torsten demolished in like one swing is definitely coming back for more. I really like the idea that this Draugr is actually some sort of like unkillable. I think I'm going to elevate that Draugr to what's the other appendix here of like co-op play? Not co-op, but like PvP play. An invasion. Or a black fetch. A physical manifestation of a spectral form. A crestfallen spirit of a dead adventurer or projection of a powerful figure from another realm. I really like the idea of the Draugr was actually like the first take or first iteration of this black fetch that has come into the realm alongside Torsten. Because I really like the idea that, or I really liked how the fetch, the Draugr, recognized Torsten and sort of taunted him with knowledge of their past lives. So that's one aspect to go on. In fact, let's move this aside. I said last session that I wanted to do Runecairn with Mythic GME. So I've been busy. Some other stuff. Where's my bookmark? I've been busy writing down some Mythic GME list stuff. First off, I put Torsten on his own page. This character sheet's okay, but I kind of feel compelled to play this out of a notebook. My experience with playing Cyberpunk is that like the paper kind of got everywhere, so I'm wondering if I sort of squeeze it all into one book, it won't feel like I'm collecting a bunch of loose sheets of paper. Anyway, so when we do Mythic GME, you write down threads, story threads, and characters, and I think that encounter with the Draugr at the end gave us one of each. Pardon me. So let's write them down. The Draugr doesn't have a name, so we'll just refer to him as Draugr / Blackfetch, because he's definitely coming back for more. And I think while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and add the Raven too, because it feels very it wasn't a random thing that the raven was just waiting at the end of the at the end of the plateau to carry Torsten off into the realm. That raven feels like that's kind of what it does, and I feel like there's opportunity for this raven to be sort of like a not quite a mentor figure, but a plot point in Torsten's journey um, into Runecairn. Is that what they call the land? They don't call it Runecairn. Come on. It's supposed to be the world. Okay. It's just the world. Although I will note it's post Ragnarok here. And the Aesir and Vanir have disappeared and have been replaced, it reads like, by new titans and creatures. Okay. At the end of the last session, I said I would sit down and read the book, and I absolutely need to do that before we play some more. So this really will just be some prep work. Anyway, I think one of the threads that we have here is Torsten's past. And I think the obvious quest for Torsten to go on to is to rediscover who he used to be, and whether that matters anymore in this this world he finds himself waking up in. In my mind, Torsten will revisit Torsten in some sort of settlement or village. And Runecairn doesn't seem to have any rules for outlining in broad terms settlement. So I thought we would actually pivot to Ironsworn for that, because the setting of Ironsworn and Runecairn seem to have some similarities. So I think the first oracle we'll roll on is a region. It's a D100 table to find out what sort of area the Raven has moved Torsten off to. The Raven deposited him somewhere in Tempest Hills. Probably can't see that too well. Let's give this settlement a name. 18. It's named after a man-made edifice in the center of the village. Picture in a village, which is a grandiose white bridge. Now, without reading too much on what Tempest Hills is like for inspiration, stunted forest, howling winds, plateaus. Okay. What if White Bridge is known for having sort of like two I'm no artist, sort of plateau-y sections, right? And they are combined by a bridge that connects them. So you have effectively 2 villages that have come together. Connected by a bridge. Okay. So we have a name. I'd like to know more about what the village is known for, the settlement is known for. Just roll on some theme oracles. 11. There's a leader. Someone important lives here. $80. Health. There's a lot of prosperity here. Whitebridge is a bastion in dangerous land. And they owe it to an important ruler. Interesting. But there's been some trouble here lately. Whitebridge is beset by... Ooh, sickness runs amok. Sort of sours the reputation that this place has for being a safe haven. Someone important is a raider. I'm picturing like an aged Genghis Khan sort of like figure who has an original reputation of ferocity, but is sort of aged out of it and has become the de facto leader of Whitebridge. Very much a might makes right kind of guy. He needs a name. Let's just go here. Ironlander names, that's fine. 71. Razina. Interesting. An interesting name. Let's add him to the list. Or her to the list, I take it. What's the relationship like between Razina and Torsten, the newest arrival? I think I'll just roll on the encounter. Yeah, the NPC reaction table. It's a 2d6. 6, 11. Unfriendly. Ooh. Torsten's not getting along well with his new setup. Okay. I think we can make this work, because my idea was to create enough of a setting a settlement, a home, to give Torsten something to anchor to, and someone, which would be Rosina, to give Torsten a thing to do. And I think Rosina can push Torsten into a quest by main strength, right? Like, Torsten, if you want to live here in Whitebridge, you have to do what I ask you to, what I tell you to. Torsten has found himself unwittingly having become a sellsword. That's too bad. Okay. So what does Rosina coerce Torsten to do? I think that's my excuse to just roll on the delve generator. So first step, roll a d6 on the delve table for the dungeon type. Needs to travel to an outpost. There are 10 plus d4. There'll be 14 encounters here at the outpost. That's huge. That's maximum size. And there will be one bonfire. Sorry, that doesn't show up on the camera. Outpost. With one bonfire somewhere here. The dungeon size is 14. That shows up a little bit better. Okay. Roll d6 on the objectives. Rosina tells Torsten that there is he is to hunt. A condemned prisoner escaped. Oof. Hunt. Someone has escaped from Whitebridge. Criminal. And he has to be brought to justice. Okay. Roll d12 on the encounters table for each new area. So from here, do I just roll on? Yep. Okay. So I roll on the d12 encounter table, and that gives me d6 different things that can happen: treasure, mystery, mundane, obstacle, and conflict. So I wonder if I just roll these out now and sort of riff off of them as I play it out. Okay. So number 1. So I'm really rolling d12 and d6. There's a obstacle here. And it's a 6, which is discarded furniture and debris. So somewhere in this outpost is a lot of refuse. 7, 10, 10. It's a lot of. Eleven is a conflict with 3. Mad Scald screams as you enter. Okay. Need to incorporate a Mad Scald somehow. 7 is another obstacle, and 3 is Floor gives way. I don't think I confession time. I have briefly, like once before, tried to roll out a delve in Runecairn, and I took these encounters like one at a time, sequentially, and it didn't narratively like make any sense to me. So my plan here is to just get a list of encounters. Discarded chainmail, rusted and dented. So I'll get my list now and sort of like lean on it as inspiration as I explore an outpost that I'll just mythic GME my way through. 6 and 6. 6 is another mundane encounter. Empty mead jug, sticky and sweet smelling. Empty jugs. Maybe the prisoner's been living here for a long time and drinking a lot. Another obstacle. That's a 5. Broken wall. Perhaps that's our entrance. I should number these. This is 5. Mundane is empty jugs. 6. 3. The 3. 3. 6. Okay. 3 is a mystery. And 6. The 6th mystery is room begins to fill with harmless spectral green flame. Magic of some kind. 9 is an obstacle. And a third obstacle is floor gives way, so another trap floor. See, it wouldn't make sense to me to do these things in order. This is our second one of those. I'd have a very hard time reconciling this into a full narrative. 6 is another mundane, and the 6th mundane encounter, empty mead jugs, yeah. Probably ignored doubles. 4 is a mystery. And the 5th mystery is shimmering blue portal. Maybe that's how the prisoner escaped. 12 is a conflict. The second conflict is a scout. With a bow. 9 is an obstacle. And the 6th obstacle, that's debris. This place is littered in garbage. Almost there. 4 is a mystery. And the second mystery is Exile's Shelter. Exiles in Shelter. Maybe there's quite a few escapees from Whitebridge. 7 is an obstacle. And the fourth obstacle, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bone strung up crudely. As an alarm. It's the fourth one. Okay. Okay, so what do we know so far? At this outpost seems to be a garbage-filled refuge for a bunch of exiles. Somewhere in here is a prisoner that Torsten will be charged to drag back to Whitebridge. Somewhere inside this outpost is a mad skald, which I take will be like a mad wizard. There's broken walls, so the outpost is falling apart. There's at least 2 guardsmen here, maybe employed by the skald. There's a couple signs of magic, spectral green flames and a blue portal. And the place is definitely filled with lots of debris. Okay. Roll d12 in the encounters in each new area. When you first interact with NPCs, roll NPC reactions. For dynamic encounters, roll on the enemy actions table. Okay. Clear an area and reduce your delve size by 1. Okay. Oh, okay. So you don't like to solve to like get to like the end of a delve. You don't have to play out every encounter. There's a chance, like a d6 chance, with increasing odds. Okay. Once you've located your objective, the real challenge begins. All right. Okay. We have 14 locations. I think I'm going to roll a d12 to see where that should be good enough. Where the other bonfire is. That's a reroll. Is with number 8. Okay. Which is an obstacle, the floor giving away. So about halfway through, we should find the next bonfire. I wonder if maybe I should just go through these things. Well, how does that make sense? First, you walk into this outpost and the first encounters with a bunch of debris. Like, how is that even like a thing? Then a mad scald, then the floor gives away. Then you find discarded chainmail, then you find some empty jugs, then there's a broken wall. The floor gives way again. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm gonna take this instead as inspiration to fill out a approximately 14 room scene, a 14 scene run through Mythic GME. I think that makes the most sense. Maybe not all of these would be their own scene. Like there's at least 3 encounters that happen multiple times. So maybe I'll just like fold those in with other unique ones. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, either way, after spending the day after playing last night thinking like, man, I don't really have anything to go on, suddenly I had quite a bit. And I think there's potential for this escaped prisoner to become a character on our list, our chart list for Mythic. And I also am going to put down Whitebridge's Sickness in Whitebridge is a thread. After all, Torsten's virtue, well, I guess he's humble but rude. I don't know if he really would have something compelling him to care about Whitebridge's predicament, but you know, with nowhere else to go, you don't want to get sick yourself. This will give me something to start on. And like I said at the beginning of the video, prep is play, so that got us somewhere. So I'm definitely logging this for Mana Loan's this 1,000 hours of solo playing challenge. This definitely counts, and I think tonight is actually the last night of the challenge. Maybe I'll wait for the next challenge or next milestone of the challenge to pick this up again. I don't know. I am really liking this system though. I'm a big fan of Cairn in the first place, and Runecairn put such an interesting twist on it with the setting and with a couple of the different rules. And from my experience playing Cyborg, I know Mythic GME really does work for me, somewhat begrudgingly. I'm a little bit afraid that Mythic can make things feel a little too on the rails, but as I've read and reread the book, it does keep reminding the reader to just kind of, the first step is to follow your gut, and then you only go with all these tables and stuff if you're kind of at a loss, right? The first thing you do is follow whatever would make the most sense. So Runecairn plus Mythic GME for the next solo game. I probably will go back to Cyborg at some point. I really like Cord as a character. It's not the kind of character Torsten is a little bit more like what I would typically play for myself. Cord is definitely thinking outside the box for me, so I'm definitely not done with him yet. Plus he left off on such a cool tangent, I think, like finally getting into that nightclub. Anyway, if you sat along with me while I did some prep for Runecairn, I appreciate it. If you have ideas or input, I would appreciate that even more. I am usually not the kind to say no to input of any kind. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good night. And again, if you have any inclination to do some solo play yourself, now's the time. This challenge is a really good inspiration. And if you ever felt like recording it and sharing it with the world, again, now's the time, because Man Alone is pushing for people to post footage of themselves doing solo play. So anyway, thanks for watching and have a good night.